Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bergenstages Television, our entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host. And today I'm thrilled to announce that the 23-24 season here at Bergenstages is the 50th anniversary season of theater here at Bergen Community College. And what better way to begin our season with the incredible drama, The Laramie Project. And today I have two wonderful actors from the play to be able to talk about the show and about why they even came to Bergen Community College to study theater. So Aliana Floro, and we have Joey Liberti. So welcome to the show, you two.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Oh, good. I know that you've been in rehearsals, but before we get into talking about the play, I just want our audience to get to know you a little bit better because they like to be your fans. So we're building up your fan base here. So Aliana, tell us about where did you start theater? I know you love it, so when did that happen?
I started theater my freshman year of high school, actually, and I auditioned for the spring musical, Godspell. I heard that you guys did that years ago.
Yeah.
I fell in love with just the scene of theater kids and like acting and performing, and it was just a lot of fun. And I got to perform it with actually a couple of other actors here, Ethan and Yuri.
Oh, right, that's right. Ethan and Yuri were both in that part. And you went to Dumont High School.
Yeah.
Oh, great. And who did you play, or which song did you get?
I performed it twice because of COVID. So for the first time I did it, I was like in ensemble, and you know, in Godspell, there's not really an ensemble, so I was just a dancing monkey. For the second time, I got a lead, and there was no ensemble because we were really cautious with COVID. And I nailed the role of Robin, and I got to sing Day by Day.
Day by Day, which is such a fun song.
I love
such a
that
fun
song.
Great. So we'll get back to what you did at Dumont before. But the freshman year was the very first time you actually said, I'm going to be in theater. You didn't get to do Little Red Riding Hood or something in the third grade or anything like that?
Yeah, I moved around a lot as a kid,
cool.
High school is really when I sunk it down.
And Joey, I know we talked about this last time, but it's been a while, so refresh our memory. Where did the bug bite you?
So, because it's always a story, isn't it? So, what I realized is I actually came to the conclusion, I don't know, maybe about a month or two ago, that the first time I had ever started performing, I started performing very young. And my parents were in an entertainment business. So we have our busy season, which is in the summer, and we have our slower season, which is in the winter. So my dad used to dress up as Santa Claus, and he used to...
I can picture this, I know your dad.
Yes. He used to dress up as Santa Claus, and we would go do like nonprofit work, charity work for the VFW, and we would go to nursing homes and like senior citizen centers, things like that. And my mom at the time, she was a housewife, so she would sew me every year. She would sew elf costumes for me. And my dad we would stand outside, the VFW, and he would put me in a big red sack. He would throw me over his shoulder. We would walk into the hall, and we would do like this vaudeville routine.
That's so funny.
Of like,
so
he would be like, "Where's my elf?" And I would pop out of the sack, and I would start doing like all of these pantomime things, and that's really where it started.
That's great. And how old were you?
5, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you continued to perform
Yes.
at the vaudeville act, but then you went to legit theater. When did you actually perform on the stages?
My first performance was I started doing improv classes at the Bergen Pack, and I started, because I'm an Englewood native, so I grew up in the Englewood area. So I started doing classes at the Bergen Pack. I was told to go into the city by my mentor, Sandy Bennett, Tony Bennett's late wife. So I was told to go into the city. I started doing shows in the city when I was young. My mom would put me in classes and things like that, performances, showcases. And then after that, I went back to my middle school in Englewood Cliffs, and I founded their theater program, because we didn't really have a theater program.
In middle school, you founded a theater program?
Yes.
That sounds so Joey.
So it was a big production year. 7th grade, I was trying to get all the rights and stuff. 8th grade, we finally got the rights to do our production of The Little Mermaid, which that's a show to do as your first show.
There's
the budget
a light
for
one.
that.
Yeah. No scenery.
Yeah. So it was a lot of cardboard
Little
coral.
Mermaid in the 8th grade. That's
Yes.
kind of the.
That's kind of the first on stage, and then after that was high school performances.
Where was high school?
High school, Dwight Morrow.
Right. And what did you do there?
I did Englewood, I started. Oh, we did Working. We did Rent actually, and that was canceled because not because of COVID, like everyone says. It's canceled because of COVID. A traveling theater came out with the rights, and we had our rights pulled because we perform at Bergen Pack, and Bergen Pack didn't secure the rights early enough, and it was however it was.
Especially with the touring shows. So,
yeah. So we had our rights pulled from Rent. So I was demoted from playing Angel in Rent to playing an ensemble member in Working because it's a very ensemble heavy show. And then we did we did Mamma Mia the second year. I played Sam. We did Into the Woods. I doubled as the witch, Cinderella's prince, and stage manager.
Wow.
And I did that.
Wow.
And then our final year was our COVID year. We did an outside, non-affiliated with the school. I have to disclaim that.
Nobody's responsible for this production.
We did a production of Chicago on Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great.
And so you started, and what else did you, so that was your freshman year we went to. What did you do the rest of your Dumont career?
Oh, my Dumont career. So I did like I did like a Halloween festival in my sophomore year that coupled with Godspell the second time. And I think it's called All I Really Needed to Know I Learned from Being a Zombie. And it's a very long title, and it's a bunch of monologues.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of pictures of me and Ethan just like zombie-fied. And that was my sophomore year. In my junior year, we did the production of Puffs, which is like a spin-off of Harry Potter, and that was really fun. I was Mr. Voldy.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes.
That's great.
That's great. I like covered my eyebrows. I covered my whole head of hair to like look bald. And I got to like do some weird stuff.
You did all this makeup yourself, or did somebody work with you?
I did all. I had to learn how to cover my eyebrows and cover my head, and it was because like our makeup crew was really small that year because of like we're coming out of COVID, so not a lot of crew people
just
signed
getting
up.
things going again. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just like, it was very raggedy, like behind the scenes, but it came out really, really well done. I'm really proud of Puffs, and then I did for my spring musical SpongeBob the musical, and I was casted as Patchy the pirate because I went for SpongeBob. I really did, but I casted as Patchy. I still got a solo song, and it was really fun.
So that was senior year?
That was my junior year.
Your junior, okay.
And my director at the time, she was like, I casted you as this because you and the audience, you just like click. And I guess I'm like really good with audience interaction.
Cool.
And I learned that I love improv from those shows.
Nice.
Because I loved like just rolling with the punches and like just getting
paying attention to that audience and getting that reaction and feeding off of it.
Yeah, I love like feeding off of the audience energy, and like it's really fun. So in my senior year, we did a production of Clue on Stage, which is the straight play, and I was Mrs. White, which is really like stark differences between
a pirate.
Yeah, like these comedic, like fun, big characters, and then I have to like Mrs. White is very still and very morbid.
Definitely.
Yes.
And you did the play version, not the musical version.
Not the musical. That was our straight play. And our musical for that year was Xanadu.
Fun. Roller skates.
Roller skates. I learned how to roller skate, and I still went for the lead, and obviously I didn't get it.
But keep trying.
I still tried, and I got.
Stayed with it, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun to do, and like picking up skills and everything. And actually, I forgot to mention, because of my love for improv and stuff, I established Night of Improv, which is our improv night based off of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So one night a year, I got to organize a show and like really run it and host it. Yeah.
Cool. Theater Club used to do that every year here. They had an improv night that the students organized, just like you're talking about, a night of improv. And so we should bring it back now that you're here ready to do it.
I mean, let's do it.
You'll make the sets and the costumes and the lights. And maybe the elf will make another appearance on this.
You never know.
So you're both theater majors here at the college, yeah?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And Joe, you're this is your second year, first semester,
yes,
right?
Second year, first semester.
And you're both the AFA program, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell the audience just a little bit what you do, because I know you're the beginning, because this is your first semester.
This is my first semester.
So what kind of classes do you take to be in the program?
I'm currently taking basic acting techniques, and then after that, I'm planning on taking audition techniques and stagecraft and lighting, I think, is what I'm doing in the spring.
Cool.
And from there, I have no idea.
That's what we help you with, yeah.
Yeah.
But Joey can help you. What else do you take?
What are we doing?
So one of the cool things that I think about the AFA program is that you do get a rounded sense of being able to do a little bit of everything. And in that respect, you have classes like basic acting, audition techniques, and acting for the camera, which are all very acting-heavy, performance-based classes. And you also have classes like stage makeup and stagecraft and lighting and things like that that give you a sense of your technical side as well. And in addition to that, you have intro to theater and history of musical theater, which give you the broader sense of what is the world that we're going into, because we can't know where we're going unless we know where we've been.
Great, good point. Yeah, I think it's a broad base so that you have an appreciation for everything that goes on in the theater, not just the acting part of it, but also the technical end of it, that you appreciate when those costumes make there, or the lights are hung where they need to be, that you kind of go, oh, I know why those are there, and I have respect for these people. And some people want to go out, which Joe, you did, you directed your own pieces last year, so need to know how to articulate that to a designer or something. And the only way to do it is to take these kind of classes to be able to speak to them about it. Well, great. So these are things you got in store coming up.
All right.
Theater production workshop, scene study, directing for director's lab, and that kind of stuff there too.
Writing it down as we speak.
We're here to help you get through this thing,
Yeah.
so you don't need to learn it all. And then you take some core classes. You'll take English, and you'll take history, and you'll take all these kind of math classes as well, to round out the liberal arts side of the whole thing there too. But a lot of great theater classes that you'll be taking. So let's get into the play with the Laramie Project, because both of you are great actors in this wonderful play. Moshe Kaufman and the Tectonic Theater Company traveled to Laramie, Wyoming, and I cannot believe it was 25 years ago. And 25 years ago was the death of Matthew Shepard. I'm going to let one of you kind of give a beginning of what this play was about. What is our story about?
So the story within the story of Laramie Project, because one of the most important things that we're finding as actors going through Laramie Project is that the play is not about the death of Matthew Shepard. It is really about the social issues that go with a town on the brink of its own collapse, and finding that a sense of community and sense of ideals and what a community withholds.
Sure.
But the pivotal moment that the play refers to, the death of Matthew Shepard, would be Matthew Shepard entering the Fireside Bar in Laramie, Wyoming, and him being approached by two other patrons at the bar, Aaron James McKinney and Russell Henderson, and they coerced Matthew into leaving with him in a truck.
To go to a better party. I think they were going to, we got another party to go to, or they were going to go somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Some sort of coercion.
Coercion to say, hey, come on, let's go.
Yeah, the plan was, I believe, to rob him. And that's how they spin the story. But they were going to rob him, and they ended up becoming more aggressive as their car ride went on. They drove him out past the Walmart to a buck fence up on the top of the hill, beat him with their fists and the end of their gun, left him for dead down, and they tied him to the fence.
Yeah.
And then they left him for dead. He was found 18 hours later by a man running on the side of the road, and he was brought to the hospital where outpouring of support started coming in from the university, because he was a university student, University of Wyoming. And as well, the media, national attention, people were flying out there, as well as members of the Tectonic Theater Project, who went out there to do interviews of
interviewing the people
all
about
of these
what happened
people in
here.
the town.
So great, this gives us a little bit of background. So we're just going to take a short break, and then we're going to talk about the audition process and the rehearsals and what you guys are going through to get this play mounted and get it ready for us by the end of the month. So come right back. We're talking to Alana and to Joey about the Laramie Project. So come right back, and we'll finish our little story here. Thanks.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Hello and welcome back to Bergenstages Television. Today in the studio we have Alana Floro and Joey Liberté to talk about the Laramie project. And Joey, before the break, you gave us a kind of a quick lowdown of what this play is about. And I love the fact that you're talking really is about the people of Laramie, Wyoming, and not just about Matthew Shepard. And then we just broke and said the Tectonic Theater Company went there to talk to these people right after the death. And this is where our play picks up, the writing of this play, yeah? Mm-hmm. So before we talk more about the play, how is the audition process for this? With Dr. Legionitis is directing. So what did you have to do to audition?
We went in, we had the monologues from the scripts, and we really got to, whoa, I just blinked. But we had monologues to read from, and we go into the audition room and we get comfortable in the space. She asks us to like move around in the space, get familiar with it, and like perform it as if we had audience all around the room because interestingly enough, they rebuilt Ender Hall
this
to
is
be
all different, yeah.
Be like with walkways and bridges and runways.
So Aaron Ingersoll and Dimitri McCorricorn designed this set, which is really different for us and unique and very, very intimate.
Yeah, it's very intimate. You have like people like very close to you, which is different from like a proscenium or whatever.
Like the Saccone, yeah.
So we had the monologues and we got to choose 2 out of like I think it was like 8. Mm-hmm. And we got to like be in the space and like really just get used to it. And it was really weird, like with how the stage was set up to perform it and then like be aware that I have to perform it on all 4 sides.
But there's people everywhere.
Because there's people everywhere. And in the audition, she was like, be aware that that's how we're going to be performing that. And that,
so you didn't partner up, you just did monologues, right?
Yeah.
This is all just monologues, each person coming up and doing these monologues.
Yeah, because this show is very monologue heavy.
Good. And getting into that, Joey, so you don't play just one character in this play.
No.
Do you know how many you play? I mean, there's like 64 characters, if I
Yeah,
remember
64 roles. They did about 200 interviews. I believe that I'm playing, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm like 8 characters each.
Yeah,
I think we're about 8.
And how many are you doing?
I think I'm like
About 8 too, as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not coming in like, I'm going to be the pirate.
No.
It's like now I've got to suddenly be neutral actor, the actor from Tectonic Theater Company that went to Laramie, and then the interview am I saying this right? Is that kind of what happens in the process?
You would walk in, there's a moment in the beginning of the show that I open up the show, and I walk on as a member of the Tectonic Theater Project, and I have a moment of delivery about how we did interviews, and I sit down in a chair, I put on a hat, and suddenly I'm the sergeant. And my vocal mannerism will change, my physical mannerism will change, and I'll deliver my monologue as now the sergeant.
Wow. And so that's what you do throughout this play, is just kind of keep morphing into these different...
Yeah, it's a lot of switching hats, like literally. And figuratively. And it's really interesting, and it's like an acting challenge almost to like suddenly be one character who's like very like slouchy and has an accent and like has like a completely different personality than like a college student who's preppy and like very outspoken and well-versed in like her...
Just from that to that, you go one to the other, And Aisha is kind of giving you some costume pieces to begin to work with, and it can be as simple as a hat. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
But anyways, it was just like going from characters to then like when we're stripped down to members of the Tectonic Theater Project, where we're basically ourselves, but also like Lee always says, like, we are actors acting as the actors who are acting in the play as these people from Laramie.
So you're like 3 times removed from what
like me as my person am removed from the actor who's in the show. So that's just like the divide and like the diversity of how we're acting.
Such a different kind of show. I mean,
Yes.
it truly is an actor's challenge to do this role. It's these roles because it's such that diverse that you have to change like that. I think your improv skills are obviously coming through to say, hey, I got to be able to do this quickly,
Yeah.
and the intimacy of the theaters also. You're right there doing this sort of thing. So what a challenge this show is. What kind of research? What do you do to prep for something like this, Joey? What kind of?
I think that there's a lot of outlets that you can take. I think one of them is to research your character that you're performing. Because the big thing about this theater, which is verbatim theater, which is a piece that is taken full transcripts from all of these interviews, word for word, of these are real people that have said
Right,
these things.
right.
So there is a certain level of respect and homage that you have to pay to these real people. So I think that one of the things that I've been doing is researching my person who I'm performing as, seeing, if they're alive, if they're dead, what have they been doing since then? Have they been involved in anything? Where are they now? And to see who they were in that moment. Another thing is looking at the political climate of the situation, looking at, where did they live? Who were they as a person? And I think that's one of the best ways that I'm finding to pay almost tribute to the people of Laramie, because it is about the people of Laramie.
Yeah, there's such a wealth of information out there that
Yeah.
you can find out about these guys. And we're fortunate we're having Romaine Patterson come to the campus to come talk, who's who's a very close friend of Matthew Shepard. But also, you don't play Romaine, do you?
I do not.
Okay, I couldn't remember who plays Romaine in this, but so she's also a character in the play, but she'll also be here to talk about the show and about Matthew Shepard and all that kind of stuff. So we have Romaine coming in there. So there's a people from life. They're real people. So researching has got to be kind of fun that you know that who they are and try to portray them to the best of your ability. That's morph into them from one character to the other. Do you learn who the people were from the theater company? Do you need to know who's that person you're playing from Tectonic Theater?
Personally, I'm playing, because it's that 3 times removed issue, I'm playing my member of the Tectonic Theater Project as myself, just to
Probably easier, right?
less distance.
Yeah. As if you were the person
As if
in
I
the
was the
company
interviewer.
that went there to Laramie,
Yeah.
so you don't have to suddenly find out who's the actor that played this, that I have to become this actor. Yeah, that gets really complicated, way too layered. And it's cool that Dimitri and Lee have worked out projections are going to be all around the space. I mean,
Yes.
it is truly environmental theater use of the space.
Yeah, it's really immersive. Like
Very immersive.
It's
I
very
love,
immersive.
Yeah, totally. You're just right there with the actors right over you, but also with this video all around you and sound and all that kind of stuff too. So it's such a fun experience. So how are rehearsals going?
Well, rehearsals are going really great. We actually just finished blocking it, I think, yesterday.
Cool. And just for what does blocking it mean?
Blocking it is just like telling people where they move on certain lines and where the shifts in moments or scenes are. And we just finished basically planning it out, how it's going to start and how it's going to be in the middle and how it's going to end. And
So now you discover this whole arc of the story,
Yeah.
the Matthew Shepard story, but also about these people. And they come back a couple of times. A few people aren't just interviewed once, right? You kind of, they reappear.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few repeating moments of
Yeah,
characters.
yeah.
And it's interesting how in the beginning of the piece, my character, one of the sergeants, my character, is, I would say, the hometown hero. He was I'm picturing him as an Americana, like his face would hang on a banner in the center of town. And then towards the end, he's very angry with the news people, and he's had enough, almost.
They've taken over the town.
Right.
The town has lost its sense of who it is, yeah.
Yeah, they're villainizing the town and things like that.
Interesting, yeah.
And it's the same character, and it's the same transcription of the same interview, but it's the way that they break it up into 3 different sections is almost as if it's 3 different characters.
Wow. The change that has happened in them. And that happens to a few people, if I remember, that they just kind of get fed up with this whole, that's not us, that's not who we are in Laramie, that's not Wyoming people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Tectonic Theater company,
Project.
company, they like leave and come back Laramie repeatedly throughout, I think, 2 years. And so these people are getting interviewed like periodically throughout these 2 years just to see where they are after the death of Matthew Shepard.
And the trial too. So we go through the trial of the two boys, and the aftermath of that sort of thing like that as well. So it's quite a journey to take and to take our audiences on as well. So what happens now? What do you do after you finish blocking? What do performers do at this point?
Well, at the moment, we are going to run the show, which just means we're going to repeat the process more and more, get more comfortable with it, find those moments of where, those moments that shine through, because there definitely are a lot of them in this piece. As well, in addition to that, we are practicing working with tech, working with our projections and our sound cues.
Projections, sounds, the lighting, and
all of those things.
And a lot of times you don't leave the stage, right? You're just kind of over there while something's happening over here, kind of stuff, if I remember kind of right, sort of stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of little technical gadgets you got to put into. And then I guess you find your arc of who you are and making this real. I think that's kind of now the learning is going, okay, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm saying, it's like, now how do I become that? And that you, like you said, Aliana, that you have to change like that from one person to the other and make that an incredible and believable moment. I guess that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting at first, but when we started getting the ball rolling, it came more naturally. The more I got connected with the characters, the more I researched, the more blocking that we got done, and it's also just like with my castmates too. Our chemistry is just really good as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because this is a team. I mean, you all depend on each other for being there, and it is a team. Just like the group that went to Laramie from the Tectonic to us, it's this group. That's incredible. So we have Miru Kim doing the lighting, which obviously the way the theater's, it's a challenge for her as well to get that. Stephen Schwartz is doing our sound design for the show. But Lee has really taken the helm of doing everything and coming up with this vision of the show. Have you ever seen the show before you did this? Is there anything familiar about this story before you auditioned?
I watched like the full show on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just to like see like how other people portrayed these characters and to see how other people handled like the switching of the hats and everything like that. And that's really the only familiarity.
Because you're both too young to know Matthew Shepard, right? You were not born when Matthew Shepard passed away 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible story, and also because of part of the reason that we have a hate crimes bill legislation was because of this incident in Laramie, Wyoming. So. Wow, I can't wait. And so you get into all the technical rehearsals, dress rehearsal, and then we finally open on October 27th and run that weekend, the 27th, 28th, and then the following weekend, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Yep. So there's 7 performances to see it. It's an Interhall Lab Theater, and an incredible journey you're going to take on. We can't wait. I hope you're having exciting now that it's all blocked that you're ready to do this thing. So Aliana, Joey, thank you so much for being on today's show. And your challenge is to come see the show, which is the Laramie Project. So please get your tickets at tickets.bergen.edu, and we'll see you at the Interhall Lab Theater. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come on in.
Brochettes with sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away. Not to mention zucchini flour. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that,
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta. A different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.